One of the most horrific consequences of the war on terror is without a doubt Guantanamo Bay. The Bush administration set up this prison on occupied Cuban territory and has used it to kidnap Muslim men from around the world, bring them there and hold them without charge or trial. One of the men who was taken to Guantanamo Bay is Mansoor Adayfi from Yemen. He was never charged with any crime, never mind convicted of a crime. An innocent man. He was kept in Guantanamo Bay for 14 years and only freed recently in 2016. Now he is an activist and a Cage Guantanamo project coordinator. He's also just released a book titled Don't Forget Us Here, detailing his time in Guantanamo. Hello, Mansoor. Thank you so much. How are you? For those who are not familiar with your story, with what you had to endure, could you tell us who you are, what you did before you were detained and taken to Guantanamo Bay, and how you ended up being there?
I am Mansoor Adayfi. Now I am holding also a number 441, because also this is my number. I think I own it. I pay 15 years for it. I am from Yemen, where I was, as you know, I lived for around 18 years. I grew up was raised in a very conservative family. I finished my high school in Yemen. Then I went to Afghanistan for a research mission. Only after a few months, I was ambushed by warlord, sold to the CIA for bounty money, imprisoned in the black site, then shipped to Guantanamo.
So a warlord just wanted some money from the CIA.
As you know, when America invaded Afghanistan in 2001, they were throwing flyers offering large bounty of money for anyone who hand over foreigners or Afghanis. So according to the ACLU, that 86% of the 20s at Guantanamo were either mistaken identity or sold for bounty. And many countries, Pakistan, United Arab Emirates, Mauritania, Bosnia, many countries who hand over innocent men to the United States based on baseless suspicion. So people think that people in Guantanamo, they were captured in the battlefield. No, that wasn't the case. Now only the research proved that only 8% who has ties to Al Qaeda or Taliban.
Right. So that's out of several hundred. Right.
Out of 800. I mean, now let me introduce you to Guantanamo. People still need to know about what Guantanamo, why Guantanamo were chosen, why Guantanamo was selected to be as Guantanamo. The United States wanted to send a message to the world. They can go beyond any laws. They won't abide by any law or agreements. So they created Guantanamo outside of the law, the island of outside the law. So when they brought us to Guantanamo, it's legal. It's a baseless legal place. Also, at the same time, Guantanamo is a military prison within a military base. It's like a black hole. So they said federal law doesn't apply in Guantanamo. Cuban law doesn't apply. Geneva Convention doesn't apply. So it's outside of the law. So they can do whatever they want. There is no accountability for what happened there. Guantanamo hold 800 Muslims from around 50 nationalities, 20 languages spoken. The youngest detainee was only a few months old. The oldest was 105 years old, to that extent. So basically, who was at Guantanamo? Were they like fighters or the worst of the worst, as they told the world, we brought the worst of the worst terrorists? No, at Guantanamo, we were sons, father, husbands, all kind of men, journalists, teachers, students, lawyers, psychologists, doctors, all kind of people. These are the men who were at Guantanamo. It's not the image that Guantanamo tried to frame us in the orange jumpsuit and we brought the worst of the worst. That wasn't the case. And as you know, there is a big failure about Guantanamo. So far, they haven't convicted anyone of any crime. And 30 men still there. And we hope, I mean, we hope Guantanamo is going to be closed soon, but we don't know.
What's the one common denominator between everyone who's detained there? You're just Muslim.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like all of us were Muslims. Like, as I told you, 50 nationalities, 20 years spoken, all of us were Muslims. You know, it's not just, it went even beyond that. We had, in 2003, we had a Muslim chaplain. His name is Jim C. was sent to Guantanamo to ease cultural tension between detainees and guards. He was an army captain, American Muslim. When he came to Guantanamo, at that time, General Jeffrey Miller arrived, and he started developing what they called enhanced interrogation technique or enhanced torture technique.
Torture. Yeah.
So they started like applying sleep deprivation, beating, loud music, raping, sexual assault, solitary confinement, all kind of methods. So we were talking to our, like as a Muslim chaplain, we tried to protest. So because they used to take the Holy Quran, put it on their feet, pee on it, throw it on the ground. Yeah, the interrogators, yes, stopping us from praying, mocking us. I remember when I used to pray, they would throw us Israeli flag or the American flag. Sometime there was like, we call it the satanic room, where they have a room and dark room where they put candles, and the floor there's like stars and signs.
What?
It is crazy. I told you, Guantanamo was an experimenting lab. So let us finish the story. When James Yee tried to protest the torture in the detention, himself was accused of espionage, was accused of sympathy with detainees. He was detained.
Oh,
he was detained, arrested, and detained and interrogated. He was put in the orange jumpsuit and shackles and hooded and fly back to the United States. This is American Muslim, not getting anyone, captain in the American army. To the extent, imagine if they have done this with their own soldier, the one who came to serve his own country. What about us? They view us the worst of the worst terrorists. They view us as like people who were responsible for 9/11. So when General Miller arrived in 2003, when they found out the majority of the detainees, they have no ties with Al-Qaeda, even the Rumsfeld, he said most of the detainees at Guantanamo there are dirt farmers. And if you read the torture report, you will find when they said we have to stop bringing low-level fighter to Guantanamo, because when the interrogators came to interrogate us, they couldn't find what they're looking for. Like they were looking for the big fish or Qaeda leaders or those the worst of the worst, or they're looking for, actionable information that would save Americans. So when General Miller arrived, the United States knew they are going to war with Muslim. So in their perspective, from a military perspective, for example, if you want to do any project, you need to study a sample of your project. You need to have some kind of project sample. What they did, they have a chance there. Guantanamo is out of sight. They brought those people and they started. They turned in Guantanamo. If you Google it, you can find Guantanamo America's Battle Lab. It's a research how Guantanamo turned to be experimenting lab on the detainees there. How to interrogate those people, how they would react, the way they negotiate, the way they lead. It is kind of like it turned to be, as I told you, experimenting lab. That's what Guantanamo is about. Psychologists was in charge, was supervised those programs at that place. So you tell me, this is Guantanamo. But also imagine you are being totally disconnected from the world. When you arrive there, I mean, we had no clue where we were or what's going to happen to us. We asked interrogators what I have done, and they couldn't answer us. We said, no, we have just we tried to find out. Tell us who you are. Tell us what have you done. To the extent, and I would like to add something, like not just as detainees were victims of Guantanamo, there were also guards and camp staff who also were victims of that machinery because the policy. If anyone tried to show sympathy or anyone tried to criticize the cruelty of the torture there, he will get hard time or punished or removed from Guantanamo.
This is what I wanted to ask you. Did any of the guards or staff, or the people who are holding you captive, did they show mercy at any moment? And what happened as a result of that, if they did?
Richard, you will be surprised. Before they brought the guard to Guantanamo, the soldiers, they used to take them to New York where the two towers collapsed.
Ground Zero, yeah.
And tell them that the people who are responsible for that are being detained at Guantanamo. Imagine those guards saw what happened when they came to Guantanamo. They feel of hate and grudge, but those guards would live for us at least for 6 months or 1 year. So you cannot fool them all the time. In the military, they try to program their mind to control them, to feed them with hate. Because if you lose control of your own soldier, that will create the leadership will have a problem. But when guards came with love with us for a few months, 6 months or 1 year, they become part of each life. They watch us pray, sleep, eat, cry, shit, wherever, 24 hours. So if someone told you this guy is the worst of the worst and you're a soldier and you see the behavior of this man, there is like a huge contradiction. They get conflicted. And some of them honestly came to apologize to us. Some of them actually convert to Islam. Last night we had an event, one of the two former Guantanamo guards, both of them convert to Islam, alhamdulillah. And the other many stories. There were also doctors, there were nurses, there were some campus staff who sympathized with that. They understood. But again, they're in the military. You are dealing with the military. They have to follow orders. Not anyone cared to say, no, I'm not going to follow orders, because they were in trouble.
I read that there was a camp psychologist, but what kind of psychologist are we talking about? Usually people think of, psychologist, someone who will help me, who is, in the medical profession. Were they there to help you, or what was their purpose?
They help us in a way, try to break us for the interrogators. Everyone, when Jiran Miller and they start the building enhanced interrogation technique, everyone worked at that goal. We need to interrogate those motherfuckers and get them to talk. We need to but it was experiment. Psychologists provide advices, provide instructions. They supervised everything. So when I started speaking English, I was talking to the psychologist. I said, being here is wrong, so wrong. But again, even that type of people later on who chose that they used to choose really the bad people to send them to Guantanamo, the one they knew they are bad by nature. So I used to talk to the psychologist. I said, being here is wrong, because if you think it's something wrong with us, you need a psychologist. Because if you put me under abnormal circumstances and you accept me to behave normal, you are abnormal. It is normal. It is logic. When you put me under these harsh circumstances, I will behave abnormally. I will get problems. I will get depressed. There's many other problems, because this is normal. But psychology in the first place as a science to help people who have a normal life and they get some into trouble and they get trouble in their life and they help them to go back on track. But I'm not on track of my life. I'm living in solitary confinement. I'm being tortured, naked. I'm being harassed. My ass being searched. My religion being desecrated. And you tell me, why are you causing problems? It just, if you scream at the guards or bang on the door, it is like you get punished. The psychologist would come to you. Do you eat well? Do you sleep well? Do you have any dreams? I said, yeah, I have nightmare when I see your face. So everything about interrogators, we would take into they call mental facility, or they call it BHU. If we refuse to comply with interrogators, what they did, they would strip us naked, tie us for 24 hours, 48 hours, give us shots, like they paralyzed us. We act is like we are violence. So at that place, I was at my age of 19. I came from a tribal society. from Yemen, conservative society, and we live by code of honor, tribes, integrity, courage, generosity. This is the way or stuff. This is the way I know. And Guantanamo, everything that didn't make sense to me. Why would they do to me this? What I have done? When they brought us, what makes you Richard as Richard? What makes you as a person? What makes everyone as a person? Don't think that distinguishes you from others is your name, your values, your morals, your ethics, your nationality, your language, your memories, your emotions, your relationship, your knowledge. Imagine you end up in a place where everything had changed. Like your name changed to a number. Everything you try to do, you practice your life, you are not allowed to talk, to stand, to pray, to even to look at the guards. They are not allowed to live as a normal person. Try to learn, to adapt to the normal circumstances. Everything will change around. So for me, I start a rebel because it didn't make any sense to me. So I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to obey your orders simply because for me this is so wrong. I'm not going to follow it. Our behavior by the administration, if you try to protest or try to some kind of react to whatever threw at us, it's just crazy. They beat you. They do everything. If you react in any way, you will be punished. You will be punished over and over again. And we went on peaceful protest, hunger strike. We were hurting ourselves, starving ourselves. When you go on hunger, we spent years and years, unfortunately, in hunger strike.
Could you explain to people what happened when you went on hunger strike?
As the situation worse and the enhanced interrogation techniques started, and we were tortured, and our brothers get tortured. We have to do something. You must. You can't eat. Especially when I saw the youngest detainee who was younger than me, 12, 13, 14, 16, torture. You imagine your neighbor were 105 years old, 103 years old. We hold those dear in our societies and our culture, respect. And when you see them that way, for me, I was young. Whatever happened to me, that pain I feel being seeing them that way is incomparable. So we started resisting, even fighting with the guards. We went on hunger strike. Our hunger strike was viewed as jihad. They said, "You are Al-Qaeda still operate Al-Qaeda still here in Guantanamo. Try to announce jihad against instead you try to bring our country down." Like when interrogators tell us that, what? Are you serious? You are Al-Qaeda. You're Al-Qaeda leader. You try to announce jihad. You bring jihad from Afghanistan to Guantanamo. I said, okay, yes, it's going. Somebody is going to come soon too. To some extent, we are hurting ourselves. Our message were simple. First, stop the torture, stop the mistreatment, and tell us why we were there. And that's viewed as, they also, like as I told you, when they brought us there, they wanted to sell the picture to the world that we brought the worst of the worst in orange jumpsuits, and they, through the interrogation, they want to create some kind of profiles that will also serve the narrative we brought the worst of the worst. For example, I will send you a photo later. When I was to the CIA and brought to this black site, they told me, you are an Egyptian, you are Al-Qaeda commander, you are 9/11 insider. What? To that extent. I can send you the photo later, how they compare. In 2015, no. It's not clear if he actually joined Al-Qaeda. I said, no, you have to tell either Al-Qaeda or not Al-Qaeda. They told me, we cannot we detain an innocent man for 15 years. So to that extent, I said, can you ask Al-Qaeda if they can grant me the higher rank? And I told them, you know what? I think I will be the second one in history after Alexander to be a general, because the youngest general in history was Alexander. I said, I'm the second because I'm 18. I don't know how old he was. He's 16. I'm the second one. I was laughing at them. Even one of the name they call me, they give me in my examination, I was Alexander. I said, okay, I'm alive again.
When they said that, you were a 9/11 insider, I recall you said that you hadn't even seen pictures of 9/11 until after you were detained.
I will send you a photo to your Twitter, and just please look at it. See the smiley troublemaker in the middle? That's me.
Al-Qaeda commander, 9/11 insider, and now unclear if he actually joined Al-Qaeda. What? Very solid intelligence.
Yes. So, just to the extent, it is just one of the simplest file. Like this one, simple. There is cases, countless cases. So when I met some Al-Qaeda people there, like Osama bin Laden bodyguard, I told them, "Hey guys, do you know me? Who are you?" I said, "I'm your commander." What? I said, "Yes." They told me I'm Al-Qaeda commander. Like, you have to listen to me. They were laughing, you know.
Isn't it funny how, I don't know if you've been keeping up with this, but for example, right now in Syria, there's Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, which is, it's basically Al-Qaeda rebranded. The leader of it is Al-Jolani, and he's certainly an Al-Qaeda commander. He has a bounty of, I think, 10 million. But the US, the American ambassador, says HTS, Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, is an asset. So, they're putting you in jail and hundreds of others in jail for working with Al-Qaeda, and then the American ambassador is openly saying that Al-Qaeda in Syria is an asset. For me, this makes my head explode. How does it make you feel seeing that?
I'm not keeping up with those groups, but I don't know who's Al-Jolani or if they connect to Al-Qaeda or not, I cannot say. But what I told you that, as intelligence, they always frame the narrative to serve the reality they sell to the people. Simple as that. So, like as I told you, in our case in Guantanamo, they tried to make us to fill the profiles. So imagine when a CIA tried to recruit me in 2002.
Oh,
they came.
Oh, really?
Yes. They told me, I'm going to meet you only this time, and this is your ticket to freedom. I said, okay. Sounds great. And he said, I need you to work for me. I said, that's Mike, I can't. Why are you free to be hypocrite? I said, yes, it is against our religion. It's haram, it's forbidden our religion, some of that. Then I have no involved in any of that, and I don't want to be part of it. And I told him, you know my file very well. I have no connection. He said, what should I tell the White House and the Congress? I have in Guantanamo student, charity workers, I have scholars, I have students. Where is Al-Qaeda? Where is Allahu Akbar? Where is Osama bin Laden? Where is I said, look, this is your job.
The CIA are friends with Osama. They funded him.
If we cannot put it that way, but we can put it, that guy, when I refused, he told me, he left the door, he was speaking broken Arabic. He told me, Nik nafsa, like, fuck yourself. I laughed so hard, and I get beaten because I laughed. Anyway, so when you come to this is part of Guantanamo. But what led to Guantanamo? 9/11. But people usually don't talk about what happened before 9/11. So media, and we should talk more about what led to the 9/11. That's why my question to Americans interrogators: why? Because they said, you attacked us Muslims. I said, why would I attack you? He said, you hate us. I said, why I hate? I didn't know even what the fuck about, nothing about this stuff. Don't you say that? That's like, I didn't know you. I know nothing about you. Why if like I hate something and something I have no knowledge about? But they get the notion that Muslim hate us. I said, we don't hate you. I mean, why would you hate you? Almost from every Muslim countries, people save their entire life saving to go to the United States, study, to live there. And do you think people hate that place? At the same time, but they live in some kind of lie. They hate us. I was like, okay, why would you attack you? Let us say someone hates you. What's like hate doesn't have to be reaction. And nobody could answer me why. Before 9/11, what led to 9/11? This is for American side. I'm asking the same question till now. Why 9/11 happened? Simple question, because I spent 15 years of my life. I'm still like almost 20 years. I'm a victim of war on terror, what they call war on terror. We call it war of terror. So why 9/11 happened in the first place? Why 9/11 happened in the first place?
Why do you think it happened?
You know, I have my own research. I was in the mission, like as I told you, I was in a research mission. I never stopped, even in Guantanamo, I continue. The story go beyond 9/11, Osama bin Laden, or Al-Qaeda. We know that Afghanistan is one of the richest countries. It is one of the most important strategic location and the gate to Central Asia. And American wants to be there. And as you know, in the 19th, there is some Russian who call for alliance between Iran and India and Russia. So they wanted to be there in any case, but they needed to find the key or the pretext or something, give them some kind of legitimacy or cover to be there. Osama bin Laden has his own agenda, which they start fighting with. As you know, American funded the Mujahideen in the 1980s during the Soviet war in Afghanistan, led to the collapse of the Soviet Union. In my research, when I start researching about Osama bin Laden's life when he went to Sudan, the man completely stopped. He was focusing on his own project, investing and agriculture and so on. They didn't like it. They kept Saudi kept bothering him. He flew again to Afghanistan. But the question of the mystery still, if you ask me, I'm not saying all Americans, but some people in United States government knew about 9/11 and they wanted to happen because they needed to happen to go to Afghanistan and to Iraq and elsewhere. Because what you see, how 9/11 actually what I'm said misused and abused to frame war on terror that enable the United States and its allies to military expansion in Afghanistan, invade Iraq, Afghanistan, military expansion in Africa and in Asia and elsewhere. So who actually the victim? Just ignore everything. Look at the map. Open the map and look. You know, if you look at our countries in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Africa, we are the victims. Poverty, starvation, civil wars, casualties, generation after generation crushed. We don't see drone attacks. We didn't see starvation. We didn't see those civil wars in the United States and Europe. Come on, guys. Let us talk fact. Let's speak fact. Look what happened in our countries. You yourself, your family, I am my family, my own country are victims. So again, in 2015, when I was in my periodic review board, I want to, to see like, am I a threat or not? I told them, look, when people, Arab Spring, they came out, they weren't called for Al-Qaeda revolutions in Egypt, in Yemen, other countries, and so on. Nobody were calling for Al-Qaeda, Osama bin Laden, or Khilafah, or kill the West. They were calling for freedom, for equality, for human rights. They were crying for the West, for Europe, and said to help them, support them. But look at the result now. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares about whatever you call human right or freedom whatsoever. Do you think international community cannot can solve the problems in the Middle East and in other countries? It's easy to be solved, easy. But this is the politics or the policy that design in the area. It controls chaos.
Mansoor, I mean, given everything that you've just told me, everything you went through in Guantanamo Bay, everything that's happened in the last 20 years, what do you have to say about the United States war on terror or war of terror?
Of course, it was a tragedy, and there were like innocent killed there. But what about the victims? Almost like around 1 million Muslims killed around the world. Almost like over 35 million displaced, and hundreds of thousands tortured, abused, and imprisoned. So also those victims. So United States actually after 9/11, they produced their own 9/11 in every country.
Yeah.
And I don't think those victims or families of 9/11 would agree to that policy. I don't think punishing the wrong people for what happened, I don't agree with that. Because, vengeance in the wrong place is, I don't think they would allow even the misuse of the tragedy to go to the extent. But what we have seen, as you know, it just who benefit from that war on terror? Agencies, countries, individuals.
Yes. And the arms dealers, especially.
Of course, it's those agencies, individuals, and military and industry, and it is like, as I told you, 9/11 was misused, and war on terror, or we call it war of terror. And also, you see, they control the media, Hollywood, and everything. It just also present the Muslims as terrorists. The individual, just a normal Muslim, as a Muslim, the notion is a terrorist, and like everyone is innocent until proven Muslim.
You know, I'm not even Muslim. In Syria, 10% are Christian, and even me, from when I was a child, after 9/11, people are saying, because they know I'm Syrian, they think automatically I'm Muslim. They're insulting me and saying Islamophobic things and racist things. I mean, if that happened to me, what happened to Muslims? You know, like, it's unbelievable how it increased after 9/11.
Richard, look, war on terror, or war of terror, have two sides: internationally and domestically. Internationally, they send military campaign, drones, wars, killing, massacres. Domestically, they start generate Islamophobia, hate crime, and they start to legislate rules that targeted Muslims, and the one who sympathized with Muslims, like surveillance, violation of privacy, spying. One of the most ridiculous thing what happened in the state, what they call the entrapment. I used to read about it at Guantanamo, and when we have like newspaper, you know, to the extent they would do. Those intelligence agencies, they should serve as to prevent any crime, or eliminate any threat, or investigate crime happen. I mean, this is what they should do. Instead, they couldn't find anyone, any terrorists, as they said. They tried to engineer terrorism themselves. They will set their agent to find vulnerable or weak, or people with some mental or psychological problems, and they will start building 1 year and 2 years, try to recruit them and like to induce some ideas in their heads and trap them and so on. And they will them to the court and say like, we captured the terrorist. I mean, I think this is the most, it didn't happen, I think in history, it didn't happen that way. It is a new tyranny. It's like a modern tyranny. And I was like, you know, to some extent, no one is safe, you know. You didn't feel safe. Imagine someone tried to entrap you, like in somehow, and they knew the law, they knew everything, and you find yourself finding charges and spent a few lives of jail for based on a lie. So it's they commit the crime to justify. I don't know how to put it. I haven't found the perfect phrase for it, but it's just a crime to the extent. Like when you talk about justice, I mean, what justice means to these people, you know, without justice there will be no peace. The only way to achieve justice, peace through justice, it's a balance. If you tip that balance, you cannot achieve any peace. That what happened. Like I would ask one simple question: what was that about? 20 years in Afghanistan. Then what was that about? You know, entire families wiped, Richard. Who remember those families? You know, 9/11, at least they have families the world know about. You know, they have every year they have anniversaries. But what about those Muslim entire families who wiped out and the one left to tell about them? I'm not trying to, you know, undermine the 9/11 or try to influence the victims or the families. No.
I know.
But also as Muslims, we suffer more than anyone else. Not our country is totally destroyed.
Yeah. Well, the Americans, I mean, they surely must have known at some point that you and many of the others were innocent. Why do you think they kept you anyway? What was the agenda?
to keep, like as to keep indefinite detention. I know other brothers in Guantanamo who've been held for the last 19 years, no accusation. Some of them have been killed in 2009. They're still there. Simply, there's no justice. Who can hold the United States accountable? There's no accountability. Superpower country. Who is going to force the United States or don't? The United States doesn't abide by any law or agreement or and so on. So why not?
Do you have any thoughts on the U.S. withdrawing from Afghanistan? What do you think about the withdrawal?
People talk about Afghanistan, and they forgot that Afghanistan for the last 40 years in war. Soviet invasion, came the Civil War, came American invasion. Guys, please give those people peace, give them time. For me, I knew that was going to happen. We knew since 2011 when Obama sent a delegation to one of the prisoners at Guantanamo, asked him how they can negotiate with Taliban. They want to come out. I said, what? He said, yes, they came, they want to negotiate with Taliban and to get out. Then they released, in 2013, they released, or 2014, they released 6 of the Taliban leaders to Qatar when something is going to happen serious. So, yeah, and everyone wants to withdraw from Afghanistan, Obama and Trump and Biden came to an office, he inherited a big chaos, really chaos. So what he did is smart, people were like, they wanted the war in Afghanistan to end up like a Hollywood movie. We invaded other galaxy, we kick their asses, we get out victorious. That doesn't end up that way. I'm serious. Come on, like if you learn that history, the Soviet in Afghanistan, the French, the British, then the Americans. So what I believe now, what I think Afghani people deserve to have peace, to live in peace, because generation after generation, crushed. And I believe that Taliban now they have obligation toward themselves, toward their own responsibilities, toward their own people, toward their own countries, toward their neighbors, toward the international community too. Because they cannot survive without the help and aid from the neighbors and friends international. Simple as that. And also the international community and countries have obligation and respect toward the Taliban and toward Afghanis people to work for the betterment of the Afghanistan, of the Afghani people. It is 40 years. For God's sake, guys, come on, please give them some rest. So, I can see now in my country, for the last year, we have been in civil war, interfering with the Saudis and the United Arab Emirates. Like, my friend, I almost every single day, my heart bleeds.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you about that, about Yemen. What do you think was happening there?
It's one of the crime against Yemenis, against humanity in Yemen, when Saudis and Emiratis invaded my own country, tried to divide the country, taken our resource, imprison our people in the United Arab jails, secret jails. They have jails in Yemen, Djibouti, in UAE. It is terrible. I'm talking to some of the survivors. I'm talking to families. It is worse than Guantanamo, worse than the black sites, beyond any imagination. And nobody talk about it.
Really?
Yeah. Torture,
wow.
Killing, rapes, assassination, elimination. Imagine United States in 2015-16 released 23 detainees from Guantanamo to the United Arab Emirates, 18 Yemenis, 1 Afghani, and 1 Russian, and I think 4 Afghanis. The Afghanis were released 2 years ago. Now, Yemenis is still in United Arab Emirates jail for the last 6 years.
They went from Guantanamo to another jail.
Another jail, tortured, abused. They are not allowed to communicate with their lawyers or any organization. They have only limit time when they talk to the families. Even when they talk on the phone, the families can hear the disrespect and the humiliation when they talk on the phone. They cut the phone, they scream at them, they shout at them, they curse at them. You are talking about some kind of, money. What we have seen, that power and money, the misuse of power and money, can even influence the decision making in the White House,
Yeah, of course.
because as you know, the Saudis and the Americans, like the spoiled kids for Americans and the European. And the matter is like they pay. Trump, they said they pay, $2 trillion. This is what they said, $1 trillion. But the number is bigger, more than this. And we all knew that. And the biggest buyers of weapon and the best customers at the people from the Gulf countries. And those countries cannot defend themselves. When I look at, I laugh all the time, Emiratis and Saudis, they are the biggest consumer weapon, but they have the Americans and other armies to guard their asses.
Yeah. Obama sold them 115 billion worth of weapons, and Trump 300 billion. Yeah, it's it's unbelievable.
The number is bigger than that. The numbers, it's bigger.
And if it's okay, could you tell us about some of the torture, the physical and psychological torture that you went through?
Today I'm working on my article about the dark Guantanamo. When I'm talking the section when we're shipped to Guantanamo, when they shipped us from Kandahar detention to Guantanamo, I'll give you just the simple story, then people can understand how the situation. I was like 19 years old boy in that tent. I saw masked soldiers, a dog, shackles, shouting my name, 441, terrorist 441. I walk forward, on your knees, like that way. So I was confused because I didn't speak English good. They came, they threw me to the ground. I was taken to a tent they call process station, where I was hung to the pool. They wearing like a protective suits, mask. They're cutting my clothes, knives, scissors. Then they start like shaving everything through powder in my face, and I feel like the three of the other brothers, the same thing. They were humiliating. They were grabbing their genitals and making fun of that. It's like they would put the scissor, do want us to cut it, like the most humiliating ways. They used to pose on us, like sit on us and taking photos, because they want to have like those kind of memories we captured the worst. Yeah. So I was then dragged. You cannot walk. They drag you like a dead sheep. Then they start packing us in orange jumpsuit. Everything is orange. The shoes, the socks, the pants, the shirt, the gloves, then they put chains around me, handcuffs in my hands. Then they put sign around my neck, beat me. So I'm like, I get beating all the way. Then they put duct tape around my mouth. They put goggles, they put earmuffs and goggles, and they put a hood over that. They also put tape around my the goggles around my ears. So totally now you're totally disconnected to. I am like just now to the world.
No senses, yeah.
No senses, not whatsoever. But also the beating never stopped. It's like the system, like every 20, 15 minutes you get beaten really bad. Then I was dragged to the airplane. We spent over 40 hours sitting on the floor. Beating never stopped. Loud music, loud engines. Like imagine you sit that way in that position, and just you wait when they're going to get beaten. So, and every time they hit a different place. When we arrived at Guantanamo, it was only the beginning. So again, it was the same humiliation and searches. And when they used to interrogate us, sometimes they would put like hood over our heads and put really loud music, loud, like so loud. And sometimes they have like also speakers, lights on and off of down of colors, like naked in those interrogation rooms, cold AC, cold water, sleep deprivation, beating, and that continue months and years that way. So, but Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, I mean, it was beyond our strength, beyond our capabilities or ability to survive. It was something we will do with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I submit myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happened to me, I'm in your hand. I have done nothing wrong. And I was, alhamdulillah, always stronger than interrogators because I have done nothing wrong. You are the bad guy here. You are the one who did the wrong thing. That gives me strength. My strength I drew from my faith. Also, the same thing, what helped us to survive Guantanamo, the brotherhood and friendship we have there. We had only each other, tried to support each other and to consolidate each other because we were just totally disconnected from the world. And yeah, like even after Guantanamo, we still have some problems. We still live in the stigma of Guantanamo. We were sent to countries where we still treated like terrorists. We're not allowed to work, to drive, or we haven't even met our families. We still live in the like surveillance and restrictions and many things. So to some extent, we're not free. We live in Guantanamo 2.0.
And how did you get out after 14 years? How did you end up in Serbia, and how are they treating you there?
You wouldn't believe it. I refused to leave Guantanamo because when they told me I'm going to Serbia, I said, no, I'm not going. They forced me to leave. I said, when I'm laughing because I was brought to Guantanamo dragged and I was forced to leave. I said, I don't want to go to Serbia because I don't think about Serbia. Serbia has a bad history with Muslims in Bosnia. So it's not the ideal place. I need to go I need to go a country where I can, like Arabic country, where I can build my life, finish my education, married, and same language, the same region, the same culture. And for the last 5 years, it has been also another hardship journey. I'm writing about it here live after Guantanamo. You see, it's my side here. So it's my, inshallah, it's my next book. Because I am also communicating with my brothers around the world. And we have WhatsApp groups who communicate and we share our stories, our problems, try to find some solutions. And I'm doing also work on research about life after Guantanamo, rehabilitation and reintegration of former Guantanamo detainees into social life and the labor market. So this is also my thesis from my bachelor degree. But alhamdulillah, despite those difficulties and challenges and uncertainty, I managed to publish my my book here. Don't forget us here, and I alhamdulillah finished my college. I'm working on a TV show about also Guantanamo. So another project, the book here. That book actually, this is the product of Guantanamo. That book was written at Guantanamo. Everything. The story of writing this book, I started in 2010 when I moved to the communal living. We spent almost like 9 years in solitary confinement, hunger strike, force feeding, protesting, torture, abuses. I mean, you name it. When Obama came to White House in 2009, he said, I will close Guantanamo, and he was signed executive order. Inside, I felt it's not going to happen. I don't know why. My brothers were optimistic. They were happy, and they said, "It is an executive order. The man is going to close it." I hoped I was wrong, but until 10,000 came, it didn't happen. So Obama administration, they wanted to try to change the view of Guantanamo, or we are not torturing them. So they stopped the torture. They thought they stopped the torture, but keeping people indefinitely without accusation, without any access to justice, this is torture itself. When they strip you from your freedom and keep you in jail, it is torture, no matter what. So they relaxed the rules. They didn't change the rules. The difference between change and relax. They relaxed the rules. I mean, they cover their eyes. We negotiated with the CAM administration to have access to TV, classes, newspaper, family phone calls, and better food, better condition, living condition. We got what we wanted because we were on force feeding, and they wanted to calm us down. It was like a game they have to play. So I started learning English. We started making art, as you sent you the artwork. So from 2010, 2013, I wrote my book. In 2013, when the army came back to take over from the Navy, the camp was under the Navy control. The army came. those soldiers were in Afghanistan, Iraq, full of hate and grudge. They didn't like the little freedom we have, you know. So the camp commander again locked us down in solitary confinement and reset Guantanamo. Again, orange jumpsuit, genital searches, sleep deprivation, beatings. We had to go again over on hunger strike, on force feeding for almost like a year until things start calming down a little. My first draft in 2013. So in 2013, my first draft was taken. 2000 when they locked us down, my draft was taken. Like, so I asked for. They said no, why not bring it back? So in 2015, when I had my lawyer also died in 2013. So when I had another lawyer in 2015, Aunt Beth Jacob, so I told her I need to write a book, and the only way I can get it through legal mail. So I used to go to the classroom, chained to the floor and shackled, and write every week, 25 pages, 20 pages, and sent it to my lawyer as legal letters. We managed to get around 500 pages. Then she collected the letters and sent back to Guantanamo. As legal letters, I had like a stamp for approved. So alhamdulillah, they took only a few chapters, and we managed to we get almost like the full manuscript. Then for the last 3 years, I have worked with my friend and editor Antonio Ailo to prepare the book. It was tough because we had really a big draft, and this is an important and unique book because it's the only book that covers 15 years of Guantanamo. And it's the only book that takes you inside the life, that secretive life. So I wanted to write about, I thought if I manage to write about the beauty and joy, the small moments we had there, about beauty and joy, about struggle to survive, about the friendship, about the brotherhood, about the life, stories about the brothers, the guards, the animals, the iguanas, cats, about the lawyers, about Guantanamo itself as a place, how it grows, how it evolved. I hoped I might be able to change how people thought about Guantanamo. We are not that worst of the worst terrorists, you know. So, like as you see, I sent you some photos of art. This is the product of that piece of 2 or 3 years we had. We tried to also to educate ourselves. We tried to find a way to escape of being in jail, you know, like skip that feeling. So basically, yeah.
Do American media invite you on a lot? Do they have you on to share your story?
No, I mean, I have interview with the Intercept, the Washington Post, and other outlets. So yes, I mean, some of them, yes. And book was published actually in the United States by Hachette. And yeah, I mean, we have a very good so far feedback about the book, and I think you should read it too.
So Joe Biden, I mean, he's now the 4th president presiding over Guantanamo Bay. It still hasn't been closed. What do you have to say to him?
You know, a few months ago, if you recall, we sent a letter to Biden. 6 former Guantanamo detainees, we sent a joint letter to Biden, asking him to close that detention. His administration already announced that the Guantanamo is going to be closed, and we hope he's going to fulfill his promise and close this place once for all. As you see, since I got out, I have been campaigning and tried to get that place closed. And I'm calling to all the people, you know, to stand with us to close Guantanamo, because Guantanamo, Richard, now stands symbol of injustice, torture, abuse of power, lawlessness, indefinite detention. And each country, they have their own Guantanamos, you know, with their own flavor. Saudi Arabia, United Emirates, and other countries, they have their own Guantanamo. Again, the same pretext, which is counterterrorism or war on terror, and so on. And as you know, many people get framed, imprisoned, indefinitely imprisoned, and prosecuted, and end up in jail. So we try to close that black hole. That's what I have been doing for the last 5 years. And I hope people can join me in this call. that was one of the reasons I joined Cage, because I'm working, as you know, I'm working on as a Guantanamo project coordinator, and I joined also the campaign, was like international witness campaign against war and terror. So try to bring those voiceless who was victims of war and terror, and there is like around 45 organizations join us.
Could you maybe tell us a bit more about your work with them?
With Cage, as you know, Cage is the first organization who start talking about Guantanamo. The first thing what they did, in 2003 they published the name of the brothers on Guantanamo, and since then they start making a campaign, not just for Guantanamo, also for other people around the world about who get affected by the war and terror, and especially in the UK and the United States and some countries. Now, Cage launched international witness campaign, so to get voices to those who get affected by war and terror. And we have like around 45 organizations who joined us, and we started last month.
So Mansoor, I mean, given everything that you've just told me, everything you went through in Guantanamo Bay, everything that's happened in the last 20 years, what do you have to say about the United States war on terror, or war of terror?
War of terror, the only target, the only one affected by it is, in the first place, Muslims. But it's not gonna stop with Muslims. Eventually, the civil liberties, people who live in the West, will be affected by too, because those states not going to start making legislation and making some new laws and regulation that will restrain people and will remove some of their freedom. So I hope as the war ends up in Afghanistan, also we can see some kind of accountability for what happened in Afghanistan, in Guantanamo's place. And I pray that the war, also what they call war on terror, ends, because it has to end. It has to end.
So where can people find your book and read about your experiences in Guantanamo Bay? And where can they find you also online to follow you?
Guys, I'm online. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Mansoor Adayfi, also Instagram. I started a YouTube channel last year, but I was harassed, so I have to stop somehow. And also, my book is on Amazon and Hachette and can be easy bought. But inshallah, I am planning to start or to launch a new YouTube channel just to talk about Guantanamo and about the war on terror, and especially about the situation in my country in Yemen and so on.
You absolutely should. When you say you were harassed by whom, you mean YouTube or the United States government, or?
Just leave it that way, because when I was so excited to start the channel and so on, but there was consequences. So because I was accused that I'm making propaganda for terrorism and so on. Like, as you know, even after Guantanamo, we just, like anyone else, your behavior just that way, you're viewed as a terrorist, and your behavior is just making propaganda for terrorism.
So Mansoor, just as a last note, most of my viewers are Americans, they're Westerners. Is there anything that you would like them to know or say to them directly? The floor is yours.
I would like to, not just to Muslim, to everyone. Islam, it's not the enemy. Muslim is not the enemy for anyone. Alhamdulillah Azza wa Jal, Islam in the West, in the state for before 9/11, in the 90s and the 80s and the 70s. So, and I call my brothers and sisters in Europe and the United States, don't keep silent, because being silent, you give some kind of aid to the oppressor. Stand up. Fight back. Don't keep silent. What happened to you? Islamophobia, hate crime. Don't keep silence. Because now someone is charged with terrorism. No, everyone should be innocent until proven guilty. If someone is charged with terrorism or what they call it extremism, we should stand and we should fight back, because we are the target. We are the target. We believe in the justice system. If anyone committing a crime, it should be brought before court and tried. But targeting minorities and stripping of them rights, and as you know, what the war on terror generates Islamophobia, hate crime. And think what's going to happen next 3 to 5 years if we don't stop and try to protest, try to fight back. And I'm not fighting. When I say fighting back, not holding the guns, but we try to resist, to push back. Because this is your country, this is your this is your country, this is your society, this is your freedom, this is your rights. Don't let them take it away from you, because if you keep silent, they will never stop. They keep going and going until you find yourself, end up in the worst situation. What would happen with me? For example, just very simple example. I used to go to some mall here in Serbia, because I live in a small room out in Belgrade. During Corona, I spent like almost a year and a half, 2 years inside. So I found there is like a mall, they have small library. And I used to go there, study and read and prepare for my thesis. When prayer time, I used to go to some place in a balcony, second floor. Nobody's watching me or see me. These cameras. 3 or 4 times. The 5th time, I found myself, the security guard came. They call in the police. They call him what's called like SWAT team. And I was shocked. What's going on here? Yes, I'm serious. So when that happened, the police came. I was detained. I was interrogated. I refused to keep silent. I keep every day going there, fighting, calling the police, calling to pursue the security company. And people say, I guess nothing can happen. I said, no, nothing can happen. Next time when they saw something, he's got something, he's praying. He's not doing anything. And if you keep silent, someone will shoot you next time. He said he was suspected with something. He was suspicious behavior. Just pray. Now when I go to the mall, I go pray, not inside, but outside the mall, because I need you to see me pray. I'm a Muslim. I have a right to pray. You cannot stop me. You cannot call the police on me. So don't be afraid. Stand for what's right. Stand for your right. And I pray for peace for all of us.
Mansoor Adayfi, thank you so much for your courage, for coming on the program and sharing all of this with us. I'll leave a link down below so people can get your book, so they can read about what happened in Guantanamo Bay. The book is called Don't Forget Us Here, and it's available online on Amazon and virtually everywhere you can get a book. So make sure you get it and read about his experiences in Guantanamo Bay. Sharafna, thank you for coming on the program. It's really great speaking with you. I'm really grateful for your courage, for your bravery, for sharing all of this with us, and for telling us your story and everything you've done. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and Richard. And as I told you, I wish that people can join me in the call to closure of Guantanamo. And stay safe, and peace with you all.
Amen. And we stand with you.